Welcome to the Elevate Your Event podcast, where we talk about how to plan and execute an unforgettable event that will dazzle your guests and generate more income for your organization. From fundraising and securing trendy auction items to event production and logistics, get the best tips and advice from seasoned fundraising and event professionals who have been in your shoes.
Welcome back to the Elevate Your Event podcast, where we talk about all the various ways you can make your next fundraising event better. And we are here to talk about fundraising events, believe it or not.
What?
It's called Elevate
Your Event?
Elevate your
Event.
Gala. We're going to find out. All right.
Gala,
Anyway,
Gala.
Yes.
let's introduce the folks that we have in the studio today. We've got an all-star cast of handbid talent that is also They also have some extreme event experience, and so this came up recently, and so we've invited them to chat about it. So welcome, Inga.
Thank you. I'm Inga.
And welcome, Lori.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. You're welcome. Yep. Thank you.
All right, two of our client services specialists here, and I'm Jeff Porter, CEO of Handbid, and we are here to talk about whether you call it a gala or a gala. It's going to be almost like a 3-minute podcast. Go ahead.
It's going to be great. I say gala.
You say gala?
Gala.
Okay, I say gala too, but I think this is the tomato thing. So this might be kind of a snootiest type of thing, or it might be what coast you're on, or it might be accent thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Inga, you've got quite the accent. So
I do.
So what do you think in Eastern Europe? Is it gala over there?
Well, there is no galas or galas in Eastern Europe. It's called sit-down dinner and alcohol.
That might be a new option for our event podcast.
Gala is English for sit down dinner and alcohol.
Here we go.
No, so this actually came up recently, and I was on a different webinar group, and the question was posed. Hey, so what are the trends that you're seeing in events? And if they're not trends that are really prominent, what are we forecasting are going to be the trends in events? And one of them was, what is going to happen to the traditional gala?
What is traditional gala, Jeff?
Well, why don't you define
Please
it,
tell
Inga,
us.
and then we'll chime in.
Here we go. I would love
Besides
to give
being a sit-down dinner with alcohol, we got that part down.
That's right. Open bar is mandatory. Well, the way I look at gala, it's very classic. It's classy. It is a sit down. It's white tablecloths, and it's a sit down dinner. It's you sit there. Somebody else brings you wine. Somebody else brings you food, and whoever's on stage, the auctioneer, MC, a speaker, gets your full attention.
Mm-hmm. So ballroom style.
Ballroom style.
Right,
It's
catered.
very traditional.
Fancy.
Yeah,
Fancy.
possibly at a hotel.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be, but
Suit and tie.
What kind of attire do you tend to see at the traditional gala?
I would say it would be suit and tie and like
Suit and tie.
cocktail
Semi-formal,
dresses,
formal.
semi-formal,
Or cocktail,
formal.
okay.
Sequins.
And we're talking about, buying a table, sponsorships kind of thing. So you're selling tables for, who knows?
Yep.
A couple $1,000s or more, in some cases significantly more. Okay, or maybe you're the title sponsor and maybe your $20,000 sponsorship gets you 3 or 4 tables, right? We've seen that.
Yep.
Right. And then you have a auction of some sort, or what kind of fundraising elements do you tend to see at the traditional gala?
Like a presentation about the organization and what they're doing, kind of a, maybe a board member or somebody who's involved gets up front and talks about it, and there's potentially some sort of video production around it.
So 5-minute, hopefully professionally produced video. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then on the fundraising side, what do we see? We see silent auction.
Yep.
Okay.
Live program
auction.
for sure.
Yep.
Wine walls.
Wine walls. Other types of raffle types of or drawing types of things, whiskey, polls,
Games,
or
heads and tails.
games for the auctioneer. So if you have a live auctioneer, you might see some games, whatnot. Okay, so this is the traditional gala. So what we're talking about here is the black tie, VIP parking, maybe coat check, formal check-in.
Maybe
right?
kind of pricey too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say a gala is usually a pretty pricey ticket
Yeah.
to be able to get into.
What do you think? $200, $300 ticket
Yeah.
at the low end. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's a nighttime event.
And it's seated and plated.
Right.
Okay. And there's might be some slight variations to that. I mean, there might be, maybe it's a food station type of thing, maybe not. We're starting to see more casual galas,
Yep.
or what some people like to call the ungala gala. Right?
Yeah. I
Like
like
a
the
buffet,
Gala.
buffet style.
Right. And
Food
I think that's
stations.
just to kind of try to change it up and mix it up. So, but either way, the traditional gala is that we're going to bring you in the door. We're going to feed you. We're going to serve you alcohol in some cases, not all. Okay. And then we're going to present to you what we've been up to for the last year. We're going to give you opportunities to donate either through the auction or through some sort of a paddle raise or live auction or games. And then we're going to thank you at the end of the night. We're going to send you home. And then we're going to talk to you again a year from now.
Yep.
Okay. And very popular with certain demographics. So we know this has been the go-to model for fundraising events for, I would definitely say, the silent generation, the boomers. Okay.
For a long time.
I think Gen X's are okay with them, but maybe some of the Gen Xers, us included, not aging us, by the way, but we are Gen Xers on this call.
I'm so Gen X.
My kids think I'm something like, no, Dad, you're like so old and old-fashioned that you're like, Gen.
They have no idea.
No, they don't get it. Like
They
you're
have no
Gen
idea.
U or Gen T. You're
Right.
definitely not Gen X. You're not that close to us. But anyway, maybe some of them are more interested in the boots and bling or the denim and diamonds and maybe dressing down the gala a little bit. But still, classic fundraiser, right?
Yeah.
But what's going to happen with, and what do we think the millennials are going to want? The millennials and Gen Z. Is that what we're here to talk about? Kind of where do we think this goes?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And how do we get 22, 25, 27-year-olds to show up and have fun but
And they're
still
not
participate?
and they're not going to buy a $2,500 table. Is your
But
point,
why
right?
not?
Well, that's my point, right? Is you're saying like that traditional model.
Right. But how do we make them spend $2,500 other ways?
Okay, so how do we do that?
There are so many ways we can
Well,
make
what have we seen? Think of some of the events that we've been to where there's more of a younger demographic,
Yes.
or not that only the younger demographic would like to maybe get out of the gala mold too. I think that COVID and being in that environment kind of casualized a lot of things,
Right.
So the events that I've seen recently where there's just a lot of young or maybe not married, more single, more
Ready to mingle.
kind of events are those more hip events like the one we had at the airplane hangar where there's just tons of food all over the place, tons of drinks all over the place. Great
Live entertainment.
like just phenomenal live entertainment and a wonderful venue with all sorts of cool things. There was a lot of young people there and they spent good money.
Right.
Yes.
They
And
spent good money.
I would say yes. And I would say that's kind of the key element. I think for the younger generations is it's not your traditional sit down plated. We're going to wait for the plates to
Yeah.
get picked up. We're going to time the speech with the dessert dropping and it's the rubber chicken and it's the side of mashed potatoes and the green beans and
hotel
we've
style
all
broccoli.
had it. We've all had it. We've all been there, right? I'm not downplaying that. There is a demographic out there that loves that.
Yeah. Yep.
But these younger generations, I think, are looking for something that's going to be more alive and more interactive.
Like an
Okay?
experience.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think to your point, think about it this way, right? So how does it typically work, right? So I browse the auction area, and then the glasses ding, and then everybody's got to go into the ballroom, and then everybody's got to sit down, and now I'm stuck with the people at my table.
Right.
Lord hope I like them, okay?
Right.
Yep.
That's why I always buy the whole table, so I know exactly who's going to sit at it. But anyway, so then you're sitting there, and you're passing the little plate that's got the little balls of butter on it that you can't even chop, get on your bread, right? And then you got your salad with why do they always serve raspberry vinaigrette?
I don't know.
Every single one. So you got the raspberry vinaigrette and the
lame.
salad, and then here comes the meat or chicken. If you filled out your form on time, you're going to get what you want, okay?
That's right.
So all of that is going on, right? And then what do? We sit through the presentation,
Right.
okay? And sit through is a nice way for some of the ones that we've seen that happen. And then your video, and then a live auction, and these live auctions take 45 minutes or an hour, right? How about this? How about I walk in How about it's an entire experience? Okay. I've got live entertainment going on, to your point. I went to one event where they had like these circus acts. It was unbelievable.
Oh, I've been to
That's
that.
Oh my
fantastic.
God. And they're like
Yep.
rapping type circus acts. And these guys are like doing backflips and stuff. So
Or
you have-
like the silks coming from the ceiling,
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
the girls are like, "Oh, I think that's so cool."
So you got all that going on. And how about we change it into a series of experiences? Like we're going to walk you through a series of experiences. And so maybe we're going to do 4 seasons. So winter. Right. And you walk into the first room or some part of this venue and it's all winter, and we auction off a ski trip, right? Live auction ski trip. Then you kind of float into the next. Now we're going to move into spring and the food changes. And so now you got kind of this really kind of cool atmosphere in there. Now we're going to auction off some sort of like spring golf trip or spring break trip. And so think about going through all of the
Yeah.
different seasons and kind of taking somebody through that and allowing them to kind of experience it at their own pace, right? But at the same time, like not making it kind of the mundane, regular thing.
That's
I
right.
think that's what people want. Like,
I agree.
no,
Yeah.
everybody on the call or the podcast is like, oh yeah, we cannot pull that off, right? I get it. I understand. Like we're kind of like pipe dreaming
Right.
here, but there are things you can do.
Yeah.
You can make it more fun and interactive,
Yes.
you know? So, you know, it can be like, we were at one event, and look, I'm not turning this into a frat party, but just bear with me, right? It wasn't a wine wall, right? Or a spirit wall. It was beer pong.
Oh,
and
fun.
you bounced the ping pong ball into the cup, and the cup had a number on it, and that is the bottle you won.
Oh, that's fun.
That's awesome.
Isn't that more fun?
So did you win a bottle
It's
of
different.
beer, or did you win a bottle of wine, but they did like
this
a
was
beer
spirits.
pong concept?
This was
Spirits.
spirits.
Oh, spirits.
I like
Even better. Yes.
I want to win more than a bottle.
That's
of beer.
creative.
Yeah, I was
Honestly.
supposed to say that.
I mean, you better
And
win
then
a
how long
whole
would you have to
case
play
of
beer
beer.
pong to get a case of
I
beer?
know exactly.
I had an event. I don't even know if I talked about this in the podcast before, but I had an event. It was a fundraiser for animals and for dogs, and they had a French bulldog puppy petting room where you could go in and spend. You just pay money to get into it, but there was like 15 French bulldog puppies that were brought in. And it was the cutest thing I had ever seen. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
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 Like they
How
want to pet
many
the
of them
puppies.
did end up missing?
I took one.
Hopefully, no one was allergic to dogs.
I got one. Here we go. Then you don't go into the puppy petting room. No, I agree. I think that, people are looking for an experience that they can post on Instagram.
That's right.
They want something that they can show their
Absolutely.
friends that they're somewhere
Yeah.
cool.
Check me out. Look at me. I'm at the table with my raspberry vinaigrette and my little butterball I can't spread on my bread.
No. I mean,
I'm sitting here with all these people. No, you want to be doing something unique and fun, or you're at a concert, or
Yeah.
like the one event that we worked where they auctioned off a trip and you got on a plane and you took off on the plane right then.
right there.
Like
Better bring your
that's-
suitcase.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. But I mean, that's a unique experience, I also like those events that are themed where people are dressing in like all white or
Right.
they're themed. What was the one we
Yeah.
worked out at the
We did the
hangar?
white.
What-
We did a white event, and it was
Right.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people love, and again,
Black and white party.
consider your event. Is there opportunity at your event for picture opportunities to
Right.
promote your event
That's right.
because
And
it's
do you
cool?
have a photo booth?
Yeah.
Like we rent a photo booth, and I think it's underutilized because I am telling you,
Yeah.
People
like,
love it.
They do. And so we did this event recently, and we brought our photo booth down to it. And I was, of course, like, they asked me like an hour before the event starts, hey, can we borrow your photo booth? I'm like, perfect timing. I got to drive to the office to get our photo booth. If I didn't love you as a charity, I wouldn't go do this. So I go get it. And I bring it down there, and they're like, oh, it's fine. We don't need to set it up. I'm like, oh, no, I went to the office. We're setting this thing up. It was so popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people
love it.
absolutely loved it. If you get the right background on it, and then if you spend a little bit of time in Photoshop or one of the tools, Canva,
Yeah.
you can create these great borders around these things.
Yep.
And these things, they're a social media just bonanza.
Oh, my favorite thing right now is the photo booth with the camera that goes around, and then you have
360.
like the whole 360 thing. People
Yeah.
love that, and everybody puts that on social.
Yeah.
I mean, I look
Because
at
it's
it like,
interactive.
We should build some photo booth stuff in Handbid. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
oh yeah, totally.
I mean,
so.
all the interactive things we're
Yeah.
talking about, these are the things that
Right.
people want.
Right.
Right. And so think about this idea too, because, we recently added polling into our application and nobody uses it. So why did we add polling? Well, there's a lot of reasons why, but one of them is so you can interact with your audience.
Yeah.
And so imagine, like, say you have a live band.
Right.
And so you throw up 5 songs. Like, which of these 5 songs you want us to play next? And they vote live,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Or if you we're way ahead of the game, you could even do this in advance. Like, hey, we're having an event, in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Pick your theme and throw it out there. So those kinds of things, I think, will get the audience kind of going a little bit.
It makes it more exciting. I went to an event a couple months ago that it was a huge event. It was definitely, I'm not going to call myself Gen Z, but I loved it. It was definitely a young crowd. It was probably 700 people. And it was definitely more like a clubby experience. It was a live band on stage. But what they did, they set up different food stations all around the room. And they had a bunch of very famous and great Denver chefs to come and donate their time and their food and do their sampling stations. And then everybody got to vote on the best chef, on the best dessert.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. You literally just walked around the room the whole time and sampled and sampled and sampled and then voted.
Yeah, and I think
Great.
what's nice about that is you can use your mobile bidding software to raise money in that account. So, unless this is something really restrictive where you only want people to vote once or twice, turn the vote into a donation item for each of the people.
Yep.
We do this all the time, and then you could change the label on the the app to say vote versus buy. And so you go in there and you say it's a $5 it's a $5 donation to vote for this chef. Right. All the money's going to the organization. It's just another way to raise money. We've seen people raise thousands.
Right.
With these
Even
votes.
if you did a $1 vote.
Right.
Each vote is $1. People will vote multiple times. Most people will do that.
Right. Here's a fun one. And I was thinking about this. We're thinking about polling, kind of combine the concept of polling and live auction. And again, making it fun for the crowd. I'm not even sure if this would work, but I actually think it would. So imagine you auction off a mystery vacation. And you say to people, look, it's like 3 days, 2 nights. And it's going to be like luxury vacation, 5-star resort.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you want to. So I would say airfare is included.
Right.
Whatever. Right. You get it all together. Okay.
It's a package.
Mystery. And then once the person wins it, you have the crowd vote on where they go.
Oh, neat.
Oh, that's fun.
So you put up the 5. Here's 5 destinations.
Yeah.
that Lori and Adam Mackay can go to.
Potentially.
Right?
And then you should have one not so great one.
Yeah.
Like Pueblo.
Oh my God! Everybody lives in Pueblo. We apologize.
But if you're going to vote for me to go to Pueblo, you better pay $20 a vote.
No, I think we'll use our polling tool to do that.
Pueblo.
I think that sounds awesome. One of the events I went to that was so fun was they did a local Dancing with the Stars concept where they had local celebrities combined with these, local dancers, and they had these presentations, and it was the same thing where you went and you voted for who you thought was the best person. They won this the disco ball, just like with Dancing with the Stars. It was the cutest event. I mean, I loved it. And they didn't have a big sit down dinner or anything like that. Right. The event was about the voting and the fun and all the stuff that went into it. And these people, were raising money for this amazing charity that was important to them. And it was a community builder too. Because there were people from all over the place coming to see their person in this event.
That's right.
So it was really a fun
That's
event.
Cool.
You could totally do polling with that. That'd be neat.
But
I
on
love
the
it.
flip side, I'm going to flip this coin here. From a professional auctioneer's perspective, like your traditional auctioneer who's
They'll probably hate all of these ideas.
who is going to come and
means they're even better.
I am not speaking for all the professional auctioneers, but I've noticed it. I've seen it. It can be so painful for an auctioneer in a traditional way and manner if they show up and they try to sell 7, 8, 9, 10 items on stage. And the venue set up as a cocktail venue, and it's a party.
And people are
It's a
really
party.
having a good time.
That's why they shouldn't be selling 10 items on stage.
Nobody's paying attention. You can be the best auctioneer in the world, and you cannot get anyone pay attention to you. The same with a paddle race. It is painful.
Yeah.
So from the auctioneer's perspective, on the flip side, what we call it, butts in seats, pardon my language, when you have everybody sitting at the nice white tablecloth table and paying undivided attention to you, it's every auctioneer's dream.
Of course. I've never met an auctioneer that doesn't want everybody paying attention to them.
It's not an ego. It's not an ego thing. I promise.
It is a little.
It's not. It's 100% an ego thing.
Maybe this much.
I'm being sarcastic. It's 100% an ego thing. You would never be an auctioneer if you don't have that.
No, I'm telling you, but you're right in the sense of,
Yes.
all joking aside, it is hard to auction things off in a room.
Right.
Even if you had, so look, let's be honest. On a particular item, there might be 3 or 4 people max interested in it, but it's hard for them to interact when there's another 300 people in the room
Correct.
all making noise. I totally get that. That is tough. You know, and I've seen some of the best shushing tactics out there.
Oh my God.
Right?
And cowbells.
I was
Cowbells.
just at an event with shushing.
Yeah.
Lots of shushing.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's
made my
it's
heart
hard.
hurt.
It's
Yeah.
hard. I get it. If you changed it, where it, and I'm not saying I have the answer to this, right? But think about strategies where you don't auction off 7 items at once.
It's too
Right.
many.
You auction off 1, right? And you get everybody into that, and then you say, in 25 minutes, we're auctioning off another item.
Exactly. Keep the suspense going.
Keep the suspense going. Let them take their breaks. Let them go to the bar. Let them do it. And if there's a way where you can kind of draw the attention back to the center stage, and I think, look, this is where it can get tricky and expensive. I've seen it done, and I've seen it done in amazing ways where, like, literally the room just goes black and there's a spotlight on the auctioneer. And of course, the auctioneer loves that. Like, I'm the center of attention. This is so
Who's
great.
going to listen to me now?
Everybody's going to listen. Right?
That's right.
But when you do sudden things like
Right.
that aren't like cowbells or like
That's right.
when you want to get rid of noise,
Yeah.
more noise does not get rid of noise.
No.
Any of us that have raised kids understand that concept, right?
Unfortunately.
Like what happens at concerts? What happens? So say you have the opening band,
Right.
okay, and they leave,
Yeah.
right, and the lights come on.
That's right.
And everybody runs around, does their thing, right? And you
Gets
know that
drinks.
the new band's coming, and you see them moving around on
Yep.
stage. It doesn't matter what happens right before they start.
Dark.
Back. It is so black. It is boom. Everybody's like,
Exactly.
oh, they're on, right?
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Come up with tactics and strategies that are you
Right.
get everybody's attention
Right.
back. But God, you got to break up the monotony because here's the problem. If I'm not interested in a single live auction item, and I see 8 in the program,
And 45 minutes later,
yeah, and you're shutting the bar, like most good auctioneers do, shut the bar down.
they
during
shut the
live
bar
auction.
down. See, I
am-
understand why, but it's got to go.
Well, I
It's
understand why
gotta
you shut the
go.
bar down
Yeah.
too. Like because the bar's loud.
Yes.
And you don't want them leaving the room to go back to the bar.
Well, the
So-
bar is a social gathering place. Everybody's drawn to the bar. So why would anybody listen to auctioneer when I can go to the bar?
I get it.
Or
I'm
why
like-
doesn't the auctioneer go to the bar and auction off an item at the bar?
Here we go. Stand
then-
on top of the bar. Stand on the bar.
It's like Vegas.
Right.
You stand on the bar and all right, since you're all over here, hubba.
Lori, I hate to say, but it has been done.
No doubt.
I've seen a lot of things done.
I mean, I think if you're going to break the mold of the classic
Yes.
gala, that you need to be, you need to really break the mold of the
That's
gala.
right.
Like you really need to take that moment to just say, you know what, we're going to redo this, and how are we going to make this more creative?
Yeah.
The food. I agree. I don't like that plated meal because most of the time I don't eat all of it. It's not
right.
that good. But boy, you give me some food trucks, I'm like a
Yeah, baby.
kid in a candy store.
Oh, you know how tacky food trucks are.
Oh, they are not tacky. That's like people who say
I actually have them at my own event. I'm just picking on you.
or stations. I love stations or just past hors d'oeuvres. You don't have to serve an
That's right.
entire meal.
That's right.
Most people aren't coming
Yeah,
there because they're
buffets can
starving.
be a bit of a disaster if
yeah,
you don't
I don't
understand.
like a buffet.
Well, they're just.
I like it to still be served.
When you
Yeah.
have food stations, when somebody's
stations is
preparing
better.
right there, right then, doing small plates, little
Yes.
a la carte sampling, it's so much
But
fun.
that's why
because-
food trucks work, right?
Exactly.
Food trucks are just another version of stations.
Yes.
They are.
Now, here's what I would do with your food truck, by the way, folks listening. Like, do not let them pick their menu.
Oh.
Okay? So here's how you make food trucks work at a big event. You actually work on the menu with them in advance, and that is all they make. The people do not get to go up and order 15 things off the burrito truck's menu. Okay?
No, you get one burrito or two.
Or you just make them make tacos instead, and they just crank them out. And so they're making 3 types of tacos, and they're just making those, and they're putting them out, and then you don't have the waiting around problem that you see with food trucks. So anyway, side topic, by the way, but
And a lot of food trucks are happy to do a smaller food size,
they love
a
it.
portion size
simple
anyway,
menu.
because you want to eat a bunch of the different stuff. So you don't want to eat an
Absolutely.
entire burrito.
Yes.
So every food truck,
You know.
pick 2 or 3 items. That's what they serve.
Yeah.
Have a dessert food truck, and then have the other types of cuisines that you want, and then limit it. And then we actually had them put a table in front, and they were just putting them on
Putting
the
on
table.
plates. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so anyway, that's how I would handle that, and that will solve your
Yeah.
problem, because that's what food stations do,
That's right.
right? You don't get to walk up to the
No.
taco food station and say,
Yes.
make me a blah, blah, blah taco, right?
But it's still so much better than a buffet
Oh,
that's
I
been
agree.
sitting there
Yeah.
forever and ever.
Well, and the lines at buffets are the worst.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, we just
Yeah.
went to a buffet. Yes.
We did.
How was
PTSD
it?
about that. Well, cater showed up an hour late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Oh my God, we're digressing.
Oh,
here into a rabbit
boy.
hole. Cater showed up an hour late. We had some very hangry people. And it wasn't us. Like, I mean, we're the mobile bidding company. And so they asked us to fix the problem, of course, or help fix the problem.
And as you do, problem solvers, you fix the problem.
Yes.
Well, we were bussing trays and helping the caterer kind of get food rolling once they
Yes.
showed up. But it was just kind of funny because it's like, look, if you're going to be late, the buffet is the worst because everybody has to line up and there's 200 people that need to eat. And there's only 2 lines,
Yeah.
right? There's one on either
Yeah.
side. They had one row buffet.
And this was a VIP portion of
Yeah.
the
Oh,
event.
boy.
So because the buffet was late, because it was
The
late,
Gala's buffet was late.
the poor people came in and sat at these boring tables with nothing going on
Oh, my God.
while they're waiting for this buffet to be set up. And I'm like, y'all could have had this with some food stations.
Yes.
You could have had
Anything.
some cool, and like let them eat when
Appetizer
they came
stations,
in.
this,
Yeah.
that.
If
Yeah.
your caterer is late, your caterer is late, whether it's food stations or a
Right.
buffet or whatever.
So I would say, as we think about changing things up, direction is going to be food stations or food trucks or something like that.
Yes.
Even interactive stuff, like
Yeah.
if you want to kind of go, this slows things down, but the kiddos love it if you have a kiddo event. The mac and cheese bar kind
Yeah.
of thing,
Yes.
where all they hand you is just mac and cheese in a
Yeah.
cup, and then you have the whole bar, right? And we had a build your own barbecue cup, and they were like mason jars.
yeah, I love that.
It was
yummy.
so cool. Yeah, any of those things where you get to kind of create your own
Baked
custom-
potato bar.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So that'll make it a little more interactive, a little more fun.
Yep.
Well, I also think the other thing that's super fun and popular, and not everybody does this. I mean, I don't work very many events. Maybe you all have a different experience. Is themed events. Like people love a Gatsby party.
They do.
Or they love, we talked about dressing in the all white.
Yeah.
Or, any of these kind of themed events. Let your people have some fun.
I agree.
That's right.
And if you
Have
want
a contest.
when this came up the other day, right? It's like, so
Yeah.
what do the Gen Zs and millennials want? Well, why don't you go see what they do,
Yeah.
right? Well,
Look what they're posting.
Well, look at every college for a football game, and look at every high school basketball game. It's like, what's the theme tonight? It's camo night. It's whiteout night.
Neon.
That's right.
It's neon.
80s.
Right.
Yeah. It
80s
sets
is
the mood.
fun.
These are the kids doing this,
Yeah.
you guys. So if you want to know what the younger generations want, they want themes. I agree.
I think it'd be super fun.
I know. Especially if you stump them on a theme, like 80s night, and they're calling you like, Dad, what did you wear in the 80s? My parachute pants don't fit me anymore, Jake. So
Oh, boy.
Parachute pants.
Those
That's
are coming
hilarious.
back.
I love a theme. I think a theme is fun, and
It is.
why not?
And we've seen some amazing themes and amazing costumes and dress ups and
yeah.
people really.
But we're not
put-
trying to freak
Yeah.
anybody out here.
Yeah.
You don't need to have the masquerade ball.
No,
right?
no.
But that event we
But
did down in Orlando,
could.
that white event, that was so cool. Everything in the venue was white.
Yep.
Yep.
And you know what people are going to do? Take pictures at your event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's cool.
It was neat. And then, the other thing I would add on beyond the themes is younger crowds tend to be competitive. So do something competitive. So my Derby event,
Yep.
now that we're bringing it back, I've got to figure out how to get all the betting and the horse racing back. And what we do with that is you don't win any money. You win fake money. And that fake money can be used at the event to buy stuff. The fake money, when you walk out the door, is worthless. So it just kind of gives you another thing, or people
That's
are
right.
competing. They want to know how much money
Yeah.
did I win? Who did I beat?
Right.
You know, you could do a trivia night.
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are a blast. I walk into
Right.
bars and see those going on, and they're a lot of fun. And you see all the younger crowds into those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and look, there's a million of them. Like heads or tails is another type of thing where it's like
Right.
it's a competitive type of
Right.
game. There really isn't any skill in heads or tails.
Nope. It's getting a little overused, I would say.
But you could do poker night. We just
Yeah.
went to one of those recently. That was fun.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can have kind of your serious poker table and your fun poker
Right.
table. And at the fun poker table, the dealer kind of helps people a little bit more
Right.
understand kind of what they're doing, so they don't feel like
Yeah.
it is hard. Like it's no fun if you have no idea how to play poker and you're
Right.
playing against some grandmaster next to you who just wants to kick your butt. But
Right.
This is why you set up whiskey tasting bar right next to it.
Yeah, or you just you kind of like. But my wife went to one of those, and she knows how to play. Generally knows how to play poker, but she went to the kind of the fun table, and it's like, here's the fun table. This is fun.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
have a table that's just we're learning. We're having a good time.
Right. I didn't properly. I splashed the pot, and I didn't mean to, and I don't get yelled at for it.
Right. No, I love all those kind of ideas.
Yes.
It's what's going to happen. So what? So let's kind of wrap up talking about the technology side of this, because as you're thinking about the traditional gala.
Yeah.
Gala,
Gala.
right? I don't know. I'm going to start
Gala.
calling it a gala. My wife's
think
going to look
it's
at me
gala.
funny,
I
like,
think
what's
it's
wrong with you?
gala.
I'm going to call it a gala.
Oh boy.
So, anyway.
Boy.
But you're thinking, all right, I got to make it more interactive. I'm going to change things up. I'm going to kind of create,
Right.
kind of a more immersive experience. Technology can help you with that. And if you're the type that's like, no, I'm stuck with check in, check out, paper bid sheets, people sitting at a table inside of the ballroom, like you're not ready for technology. Well, you're not ready to make it more interactive. It's
No,
going to be really
true.
hard to do it. And I think the other thing you're going to find is your, younger generation guests are going to be more interested in using technology. They're more comfortable with it. This actually came up this morning in a call I was on. You're going to start, and we talked about this last week too. Like you're going to start seeing like self check-in,
Please.
Please.
right? Because
Jeff.
because the but the
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but like the belief in the past, right?
Right.
Was, hey, I need to greet these people at the door. I need to thank them for coming.
Right.
And I don't want to get any information from them because I don't want to inconvenience them, and I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable asking them for their address and their email address and their phone number and their credit card. And the younger generation is used to giving you all of those things.
They're totally fine with that.
But honestly, they don't find it impersonal if you just let them do it on their own.
Right.
Right? That's the big difference. You can still welcome them when they show up. You can still hand them a drink when they show up.
Yes.
But you could also let them, check themselves in. And you see it at the airports.
Yeah.
Right? You see it at a hotel. Like,
Exactly. You see it at the
Marriott,
hospital.
I'm driving to the
Yeah.
hotel yesterday, and Marriott's like, check in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was like, I check in from my phone. I don't even have to talk to the lady at
and
the
you go
front desk.
right to your room with your little
And your
key.
phone works as your key.
That is my favorite.
That's right.
Holy
I do it
cow.
every time.
Thank
People,
you,
this is
Marriott.
coming. It's here
It's
for certain
coming.
things. Now, Marriott's, no offense to Marriott, I don't have any offense, but I wish my phone key worked on more than one phone at once. But if you need some help on that, let us know.
You design that.
We designed that as all my kids are like, Dad, get over here and open the car, open the door. So anyway, point is that these are the types of things that are coming. So you still can do silent auctions. Those are still
Yeah.
going to be fun. They're competitive. People like it. You're going to have to do mobile bidding to do that.
Yeah.
You can still have a live auction. I would just make them more
Break it up.
interactive. Yeah,
Break it up.
for sure.
Mix and mingle. Make it in different rooms. Make it themed.
I'm waiting for one of our
Yeah.
clients to do the Four Seasons event.
You know what? If you
With
do
the
the Four
winter,
Seasons
spring,
event, you
summer,
need
fall.
to reach out to us.
Yes.
Maybe we'll come.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And so,
It'd be a
and
contest.
here's the other cool technology things that you can do. And again, we're talking location based events, because if it's virtual, it opens up a whole nother ball of ideas that we could share with you. But think about, they have these things called beacons, and this became really popular like maybe 10 years ago. And I think people got a little creeped out about it 10 years ago, but they will come back. But if you ever remember, like the Gap had these, and you would walk in and they'd be like, now you're in the men's clothing section. Like, here's our specials.
And that totally creeps me out.
Yeah. Well, Think about that at
the Gap.
event.
I think up.
Think about that at the event.
Yeah.
Where you can have a beacon in every room. And when you walk into that room, your mobile bidding app, because it has to be a native app, it can't be the web. Your native bidding app would say, you're in the spring room.
Well, you're
Here's
really
your-
into this.
Here's your cocktail
Here are
special.
your options.
Here's your cocktail special. Here's the item we'll be auctioning off live later this evening. Right?
Nice.
Isn't that cool?
And please go take your coat off.
You know? All right, you're no longer in the winter room. Take your coat off, Lori.
I see that you're wearing a red dress.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That's creepy.
I don't think it's that smart. But the beacons give you,
good.
what they give you is they give you location-based knowledge inside of a room.
Yeah.
Because you don't get that. Like GPS is not that, like first of all, GPS doesn't really work inside, but GPS isn't even that accurate inside because it uses Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
This is accurate because you say, I want the beacon to kind of cover this radius. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
And then the apps know when they cross these boundaries. And so you can do, like, this is pie in the sky, you guys, but I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff that down the road is going to be more accessible to all of our clients. To be able to say, look, that's the experience I want to create. I want them to be immersed in this event from the beginning to the end based on where they're walking and where they're going. That'd be so much fun. Especially
would
if you
be
did
really
like a
cool.
zoo event.
Or like, I love those events that you have like at museums.
Yeah.
Or you have
Yeah.
an
In
event.
different rooms and spaces.
Yes. Oh, I love events with different rooms and spaces. I am, no offense if this is what you do, it's just not my favorite. I don't love the giant ballroom events. I like more of an
Yeah, not
intimate.
anymore. Yeah, I'm with you.
I just don't. I like, I do like going into an event where, like the event that we're going to go work this week. They come in off of golf carts and they walk in and they get their drink and they go down this really sweet tunnel and then they have these guitars they're raffling off and these purses they're raffling off. Then they go into the entrance and then they go to this silent auction room. Favorite thing in the world.
That's right.
Silent auction room off to the side, its own experience with a bar and snacks, really cool snacks.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's just this whole moment for these people and it's just really neat.
Yeah.
It's just a really neat event. And yeah, I mean, get away from the ballrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say that.
So that's it. So we talked about making it more immersive and interactive.
Yes.
We talked about maybe splitting certain things up, themes, right? And then maybe putting some competition in there. And then we wrapped up with technology, right? And the fact that you're gonna need to figure out how to use technology to make all this happen. And and we're gonna help. If you're one of our clients, we're here to help you kind of think through those ideas, and figure out what's going to work best for you. But this is what's coming.
Yeah.
This is what's coming. The
Embrace
rubber
it.
chicken is like, there's a date in the future where you will not be like trying to chop up your rubber chicken with a bread knife. So,
Yeah.
and the butter balls, those are going away too.
Oh, they gotta go.
So we're excited. No more raspberry vinaigrette. This has been a
Gotta
great
go.
chat. If you're a raspberry vinaigrette fan, we apologize. And if we live in Pueblo, we apologize as well.
That's right. We're sorry for offending you today.
Hashtag Pueblo.
Give us another undesirable location for a vacation. We'll use that in our future podcast.
Flint, Michigan.
There you
Oh
go.
boy. Oh boy.
You're just here
Sorry.
to offend people
Sorry,
today. aren't you?
I'm from Michigan. I can say that. I can say that.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's wrap up with this podcast. It's been a great conversation. Thank you guys for listening in on the trends and the possibly future ways that you can change your Gala into maybe something more interactive for the younger generations. We're excited to share any more ideas that you have. If you have any other comments on this, if you have any other ideas, please send them to us and we'll go ahead and put them in the show notes as well. Until then, leave us a 5-star review if you're finding this podcast helpful. If you have any other ideas for shows that you want us to cover, let us know that as well. If you have any other questions, reach out to us. And you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, or anywhere else that you tend to listen to your podcasts. So until we meet again, happy fundraising.
Bye.
Thank you very much.